Oh, it is so good to be back, especially after a massive week 5 where we went ahead, jumped the gun, and told you all to grab Theo Johnson. And now everyone on YouTube is telling you to grab Theo Johnson. And add to the fact that we also mentioned in our Start Sit video for week 5 that Kendrick Bourne was a flex play, and he indeed delivered if you put him in your flex last week. So let's go ahead and talk about week 6 players that are on the waiver wire that we should be grabbing in fantasy football. Roll the intro. I want to start this video and talk about some of the names we have mentioned lightly in the past that are coming back up as waiver wire topic conversations yet again. Let's start off first with Rico Dowdle. This was somebody that I told you guys should probably be added on your fantasy football rosters before week 1 even starts. And although it would have took a long time for that to pay off, if you waited the 5 weeks, you were rewarded with gold last week with Rico Dowdle rushing for over 200 rushing yards. He was phenomenal when Chuba Hubbard was out with injury. And now Rico Dowdle, if still available in your leagues, must be picked up, because if there's any chance that Chuba Hubbard misses time again, this is a must-start running back. So he has to be on your roster for that reason alone. No, we may not be able to play him every week, but he's got upside. If Chuba were to miss time, this is a premium insurance policy at the running back position. Now let's move on to Kendre Miller. This is somebody we've talked about more recently on the channel. I don't remember exactly what week we mentioned to add Kendre Miller, but we saw last week against the New York Giants, Alvin Kamara was healthy. Kendre Miller got more touches and was more efficient with these opportunities, and overall just looked like a guy that could eventually just take over the backfield at some point, even with a healthy Kamara. But if Kamara were to miss time, right, that would unlock the true potential of adding Kendre Miller, and he would be just like how we have Rico Dowdle slated as a must-start running back if Chuba were to go down. If anything happens to Alvin Kamara at this point, Kendre Miller is a must-start fantasy running back. It's probably not all that realistic that Alvin Kamara seeks a trade or gets dealt at the deadline, but we could maybe see Alvin Kamara miss time at any point during the season, and that would make Kendre Miller a starting running back in fantasy and an asset that you want to add onto your rosters. Let's keep it churning. Now we're going to talk about Michael Carter, running back of the Arizona Cardinals. This was a player that got an improved workload because of the injuries in this backfield. First, we've seen James Conner go out with an injury, then Trey Benson. Finally, Emari Demercado comes up with a massive fumble. But even before that, Michael Carter was a part of this offense and was getting touches even at the goal line. So him and even Bam Knight, if you can't get Michael Carter for whatever reason it is, maybe he was already added. If you're in a deeper league, 12 teams or bigger, I would definitely go ahead and grab Bam Knight. I think this is potentially just like how we see Washington or these other backfields play out. Similar to kind of like the Houston Texans, except they don't have a third. This is kind of just running back by committee as soon as the first running back goes down. If I had my choice of priority, I would definitely focus more on Michael Carter. But if you can't get him, Bam Knight, if you're in a deeper league, I don't think that's a bad pickup, to be honest. I think that could potentially be just as functional as Michael Carter. Speaking of running back by committee, due to the fact that Omarion Hampton has suffered an ankle injury last Sunday's game against the Commanders, this opens up the door for both Hassan Haskins and Kimani Vidal to potentially be starting running backs in fantasy, and both players that we need to add this week, and I'll tell you why. Kimani Vidal saw 4 carries for 18 yards, while Hassan Haskins saw 5 carries for 13 yards, so we know that Kimani Vidal was slightly more efficient with his touches, but these opportunities were given out pretty much evenly. They were both given a target and a reception out of the backfield. I think either one of these running backs you can't go wrong with. I guess if I had to pick one over the other, if you've watched my videos last year, you know that I was beating the drum for Kimani Vidal last year. I think we need to go with Hassan Haskins right now, but if you could get Kimani Vidal, I think that's great. If you're an Omarion Hampton fantasy owner, you definitely want to grab one of these players. Which one is going to turn into the dime a dozen, we don't know, but I like my chances of getting the guy who's going to get a lot of opportunities, and I think that's Hassan Haskins. I feel like a fool for leaving him out on the week 5 waiver wire list, but Kendrick Bourne as a wide receiver is now a must-add wide receiver in fantasy, and especially if Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings both continue to miss time, this opens the door for Kendrick Bourne to continue to get more playing time. No, he may not have 10 catches for 140 yards every week, but he's going to get targets, and you're going to want him in your fantasy lineups if he's the only receiver that the Niners have. Sure, we will see the value of Kendrick Bourne decrease when guys like Pearsall, Jawan Jennings, and even Kittle come back, but don't hold your breath on any of those guys really coming back. There's really no word that George Kittle's going to come back this week, so maybe he's going to come back in week 7. Like, there's still more opportunities to play Kendrick Bourne, and don't look too far into the future with him. Play him while you have him and enjoy it while it lasts. At the tight end position, last week I told you guys to go get Theo Johnson. If you did go get Theo Johnson, you're probably not looking at this list this week, but if you didn't get Theo Johnson, you're saying, damn, Outlier Fantasy, how did I miss that one? Do you have potentially another tight end that I could pick up and start this week in fantasy? And the answer to that is yes, I actually do. AJ Barner of the Seattle Seahawks has shown promise throughout the season, and while his 2-touchdown game last week may have been a fluke, he's continuing to earn targets and opportunities in this offense. And Sam Darnold's not the worst quarterback. You could do a lot worse at this tight end position. So I like the position that AJ Barner is in right now. He seems to be that true second option that if Jackson Smith-Njigba is not open, it doesn't seem like they could really rely on Cooper Kupp every game. We want to see Torrey Horton break out, but it might just end up being AJ Barner, the guy they trust in this offense. And if your league mate is a Seattle Seahawks fan and he already has AJ Barner, don't worry, because I'm going to tell you about Mason Taylor of the New York Jets. And no, I'm not going crazy over just one game against the Cowboys where the Jets had to throw the ball a lot, and that's why he had 9 receptions on 12 targets. But the truth is, Mason Taylor's been heating up over the last 3 weeks, and at this point, it's not a coincidence. We need to at least be adding him if we're not starting him. Over the last 3 weeks, this Jets player has seen 25 targets and 18 receptions, so on average 6 receptions a game. That's big in a PPR league, so I'm not going to ignore the fact that Mason Taylor is putting up numbers at this point. We need to, at the very least, stash him on our benches and hope that maybe he can continue this production. And that's going to wrap it up for this quick little Week 6 waiver wire video. We'll definitely get out and post a start sit for this week as well. Hopefully we could keep the good picks going and the good vibes going. We have been doing pretty good on those picks. Hopefully that can stay and continue. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you stuck around and made it to the end of this video, feel free to smash that like button for your boy. I would really appreciate it. It means the absolute most to a guy like me, let me tell you right now. Outlier Militia, that is all the time I have for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Turtle. This is Outlier Fantasy, and I will see you in the next video. Wow, you stuck to the end of this video? Thank you so much. If you're new here, make sure you check out one of these videos on the screen right now. And don't forget, before you leave, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any fantasy football videos on this channel. That's all I got for you guys. I'll see you in the next one.